here's hoping you managed to get a cuppa, and part 2 to add on to the global workout we've done, which is global stabilisation, using the bigger muscles, obviously trying to find the smaller shoulder stabilisers using the handheld weights. But for this part of the workout then, obviously next door somebody started banging, and that's my problem when I come so late to the show really in the day, but hopefully you can hear me really clearly. I'll talk louder. It is a bit loud in here with the banging. Anyway, welcome back everybody. Your first position for this workout is going to be with the roller in front of you, and you're going to start without the roller being used, but centre it. Then find your body into hands and knees. Using the all fours, so we've been using a weighted upper body area. We're now going to put our own body weight through the upper body area, and I'm going to hold you in this position here, breathing in and out whilst people get tuned in again. They inhale through the nose into a long lengthened spine, and the breath out to feed into your ribcage placement, and then your oblique abdominal connect. Inhaling and exhaling. Think as though you're a fish. If you breathe into the side of the armpit, and then breath out from the side of the armpit where your ribs shrink and create that power through the obliques. With your next breath out, tuck your toes under your feet and then breathe in with the toes tucked under. Then breath out, pelvic tilt, and let the head look down. So you've got a very subtle imprint of the lumbar spine, a tiny bit of flexion at the base of the ribs. And you're going to use that position to power the legs or power the trunk as your knees hover and knees lower. Breathing. Exhale. When the hands push into the ground with the breath out, your obliques, base of the rib cage to the high waist, will register a connection. If they don't think that they're amazing. Think that you're not following your breath. Just 3 more. 2 more. Open mouth. Depth of breath in equals powerful breath out connection. And last one. And down. I wanted to wake up your trunk stability system truly before taking us into some movement. You're going to use the roller with the hands at either end of the roller. Make sure your roller's level. With hands at the other end, I've just realised if you have your roller hang over a surf, it doesn't work. I put my knuckles over one way, so my wrist isn't as demanded of. It's not going to get the same flexion. And you've got your knees together, thighs together. You're going to just slowly find your chest press and back up. Now listen to why. On the journey inhaling down, your elbows want to broaden and you need to look for the symmetry down there. Exhale the ribs and push through the heel of the hand to find yourself up. Inhaling, the elbows pull wide, opening the front of the chest, the pec area. Exhaling, and we come back. When you use weighted balls in hands, arms, you often get the upper back perfectly well, beautifully. But what we need to happen to make that upper back work better is make the front of the shoulder, your pec, major, minor, and therefore your obliques to trunk stability, to get stronger in that open chest position so that the round back, kyphosis element of life doesn't get us permanently, okay? So the inhaling, I'm looking for my symmetry, I'm looking for my lats, I want to feel my armpit area, the back of the shoulder in towards the scapula, the lower part, so it's more like where the rib cage bra position cuts the ribs in half. Inhaling wide, wide, wide. Exhale, powerful breath out. Just do me one more. This is a wake up, body weight activity to strengthen and lengthen. All right, from there then you've earned the reward of relaxing back into your child's pose. And once again, you're going to breathe deeply in and out into this position. Your head can hang. Breath in and out. Before we take you lying onto your front. So your roller will go forwards a bit. I'm going to lie myself down, checking my feet are at the absolute edge of the mat, end of the mat, and making the roller still very symmetrical. As you reach your feet back, you're going to have the hands either end of the roller still, just as this time they're holding the tube end, as it were. I lengthen the legs, and rather than rushing ahead into what you think is going to happen, you've got to tune into your breath. Now, if you need to rest your elbows down for a moment, do so, but try and keep the crown of your head feeling for the roller, and the nose therefore just pointing to the floor. Shoulder away from the neck and start breathing. The breathing in and the breathing out. Pulling the rib cage on the breath out away from the ground, so your pubic bone on the breath out and the ribs start to feel a connection. This is your core stabilising without working into your back. So I'm going to lift my head up so I can speak more clearly. Don't copy my position right now. As you're breathing in and out, the pubic bone stays dominant. The exhale trips up to the rib cage, shrinking in, okay, and the pubis drawing into almost an imprint, and therefore the abdomen feeling as though it hollows away from the ground. Now, some of you are just at that level. As you do this, if you can keep tuning into that, the next thing is to, on the breath out, don't look like I'm looking at the screen, let the legs lengthen and see if they can float fractionally away from the floor, lengthening. Feel the hamstrings at an inhale, lower. Don't grip the bum. Use your pelvic floor nail to spine and let those legs float and return. The emphasis will always be the breathing out has to happen, and then the legs can reach. Inhaling, remember pelvic floor. Breath out, the legs reach. You do this accurately when the back of your thigh, from the back of the knee to the base of the glute, the gluteal fold, activates. We're going to add to this by taking the elbows off the floor and holding the roller. Now, exhaling as you send the legs away, see if you can float the roller up, and as you lower the legs down, lower it down. It's such a small range of move. Breath out. The discipline of legs reaching without arching the lumbar spine, keeping all of the effort in the upper back shoulder stabilizers and the hamstring glutes is what it's all about. Now, if you can't lift the roller, just give it a gentle squeeze. In fact, everyone just try that now. Breathe in, breathe out, lengthen the legs, push the roller as though you can compress it with the whole of your hand. Inhale and release. Breath out, press the roller, lengthen the legs, and inhale, lower. This is the last one. I'm pulling the roller with the hands, the rib cage has connected my obliques, my pubic bone is dominant, and let that go. Now, put your hands on the roller, keep the legs long still, inhale, push the roller away, feel your shoulders shrug, keep the legs with energy, breathe out, bend your elbows and pull your shoulders away from the neck. Inhaling, reach the roller away, shrug, breath out, drive the elbows backwards. Your aim here, and again I'm going to turn to look so you can hear my voice more clearly, is to keep the elbows the height of the forearms and that the roller reaches, and you want your arm to slide and glide and your scapula to find its way to a tiny bit of elevation and find its way back to neutral shoulder, as it were. If it's too uncomfortable, then you're at the place where you mustn't use the roller, but you must lift and lower. I'm going to move on, okay? Now that we know that we can move in and out, we're going to stay with one hand on the roller. I'm going to keep my hand nearest the screen by my side in a dart shoulder capacity. In other words, my shoulder blade has rolled into the back and I'm going to reach. Breathing in. Breath out then. I'm going to let the right leg, because that's my right arm by my right leg, extend, lift and lower. This is a swimming modification. Once I get the breathing going, I know I can work my upper body. So now, breathe in, and then the breath out, push your arm away, the roller rolls with it, the right leg lifts, the left leg arm reaches, and then it returns. Breathe in. Exhaling. You're sliding single arm, shoulder, inhaling and return. Breathe out. Now turn and look to your right. Inhale and return back. You've now got systematic kind of rotation, extension going on throughout the whole body, and as long as you're breathing, core stabilizing, you'll feel the fluidity of the movement, making sure the breaths are long, that the abdominals are working really hard. You've got one more. With the right hand, shoulder dart position, and let that go. I'm changing arms, okay? I'm putting my left arm by my left leg, my right arm at the end of the roller, so you want arms at the end of the roller. Crown of the head feels for the roller. Breathe out and rotation with the leg lifting. Inhale, reverse. The rotation is scapula and neck. Inhaling, exhaling. So you're turning, I'm going to stop doing it, you're turning your head. It's as though your roller's going away. So it's a really small rotation because your pelvis is able to stabilise against the ground using the pubic bone. And you've got this contralateral feed, which is a beautiful way of working with the body. That's the kind of look of it, okay? We're going to move on from there then and take you into extension. The movement I've just shown you, go back to this movement after this session and understand it by watching and then do it. All right, from the next position then, we're going into our extension. Legs can still reach. Pubic bone is still dominant. Push your arms a little bit away, but keeping your elbows bent. The place of the back of the wrist at the end of your roller. You breathe in. Exhaling, start to pull that roller to you, keeping your pubic bone heavy. Have a breath in and start to keep the roller coming and find yourself up into extension. Inhaling and exhaling, bend the elbows, lay the abdomen down, vertebra by vertebra, taking the spine into imprint through the pelvic position and ribs, and push your roller away again. Stretch the legs, inhale. Exhaling, start to draw the roller. Breathe in. Exhaling and roll the roller up further, so onto my thighs. I'm lifting my hip bones up, pulling my scapula together. On the breath out, I'll lower the elbows down. And I end it with my crown of my head reaching for the roller and my roller reaching away. Breathe in. Exhale. Shoulders, collarbones. Inhaling, don't let the legs lift. Breathe out. Use the rolly element of your roller. Big extension. Shoulders, collarbones, reach, cleavage to the ceiling. Exhaling. Lengthening down, don't sag at the elbow too much. And inhale, reach. All right, that's all we're going to do lying frontal. You will need a moment, just in case your extension work was too intense in the lumbar. It shouldn't be, but as we learn things, we don't always get things perfectly. And the easiest way to answer that sensation is to do the child's pose version of life, at which point you're ready for seated. In seated, you will sit with symmetry, and obviously use your roller with that same symmetry. And the need for your spine to forwards flex now, because everything I've just done with you has been to open you out in the thoracic area. If you can keep your legs lifted, people like Ken, you'll be dying right now, as would Tom. Yes, your quads are active and your flexors are active. Have your palms reaching here, breathe in. Breathing out, bend the rib cage over and feel the reach in the opposite plane of movement through the upper back. Breathe in. Breathe out, reverse, pull your shoulder blades towards each other as you find yourself sat tall. Breath in. Exhaling, shrink, reach, reach. Pull your shoulder blades away from each other, but don't let your rib cage collapse onto your thighs. Breathe deeply in, you're staying on your sit bones, and then exhaling to reverse all the way back. You're now ready for C-shaped mobilising spine, lumbar, pelvic positioning. I'm going to use the roller to roll off the sit bones, and it rolls with me. Breathe in, so I'm bent at the ribs. To push the roller back again, I bend the rib cage, breathing out, and I find myself sat up again. If you want to take the roller further down the legs, the count, it does depend on hamstring length, I have to say. Don't worry if you're leaning back as you set up. Breathe in. Breathing out, pelvic floor, pelvic tilt, C-shaped spine, everything symmetrically aligned. The roller has come with me. I breathe in, I breathe out, and I push down the legs as I bend the ribs. The obliques act, and the roller comes back up. Breathing, exhaling. Breath in, exhaling. So we're now going to create rhythm. Exhale. Breathe in, breathe out. And that rhythm of the obliques, flexing, flexing, flexing. Inhaling as you get to the sacrum and rolling up through C. Next time, stay. Breathing in and out then. On the breath out, let the hands come to the hip. Turn and look down, kind of beyond that part. And again, come back to centre, breathe. Exhale, pull your hands to the other hip. So the rotation through the rib cage and the shoulder is what it's about. It's like I pull the backwards elbow when I go to the left, and I pull the right shoulder blades elbow when I go to the right. So that rotation and rotation. All right, people, due to timing, we're going to roll up again. Systematically recruit, 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 and then reach for your toes. Keep the stretch into the back of the thigh, the hamstring. If you keep the rib cage bent, you'll benefit from that moment. We're going to end up now waking up the hamstring glute before we do some releasing ab work. I'm going to put my feet on the roller and roll my spine down. With your feet on the roller, it's more heels than anything. And to succeed at this activity, you certainly don't need to have the roller too far away from you. So draw that roller in, check that both kneecaps are level, and you're in a neutral pelvis. Keep the spine strong and lengthened. Press your hands out sideways wide. Imagine the width of your roller. Breathe in. To breathe out, rib cage placement, pelvic tilt, and then roll away from the ground. Stay there, breathe in. And breathing out, the rib cage behind you, make that bend to the high waist, base of the scapula, and you're all the way back down to your neutral. Breathe in. Pelvic floor to gentle imprint. Don't think too much more about rolling the lower back, but definitely communicate with your rib cage placement. Keep the thighs drawing towards each other. Breath out. Shoulder blades are flat. You feel the spine, and you really feel for your hamstrings acting as stabilizers. Breathe. Pelvic imprint on the breath out. Pelvic floor, pelvic tilt. Think of where your heels are as you draw the ribs down and you come back up again. Breathe. Pull your inner thighs at the top of the leg tight together. Breathe in and taking that position down, down and down. We repeat again once more. The bigger the breath, the greater the mobilizing and core connection to the trunk stability system, adding to your body what it doesn't have already, and with no deep breaths in, you can't get a deep core connection breathing out. Allow that to go. Let your legs straighten, breathe in, and then exhaling, roll yourself up as though it's all no big deal. Now it's your reward time. Are you ready? You're going to take the roller down the length of your mat, and then you're going to elegantly find your bottom at the other end of it. The tailbone sacrum literally towards the end. The truth is I probably need a head cushion, so forgive me. I'll use the head cushion rather than fake it, because this is the nicest thing. If you need a head cushion, get one. Let's be conscientious here, but my bad for not giving you that hint at the beginning. Now I know that I've got my liner, I can feel every part of the spine connecting to the roller, and my head cushion, remember it goes under the skull. Once you're on your roller, always wriggle around and go further down than you thought you could. Realign your clothing and then your heel connection. The rules go, as you know, the closer your thighs are together, the more relief, stability sequence you'll find in pelvic floor, internal, external oblique. But if you're newer to Pilates, and that simply means you're going to roll off the roller, at this point, let your legs be a bit wider. We're going straight into some kind of passive movement patterns through the shoulder. I say passive, it's compared with lifting weights and lifting body weight. Go back to your breathing. This roller moment now is all about a breath, relaxation, connection. So inhaling, pull your shoulder blades away from the roller so they slide away from each other. Exhaling as the ribs come down, slide the scapula to the roller. Your rib cage is still imprinted. Breathe. Exhaling, the ribs. Inhaling, exhaling the ribs. Now if you're familiar with this, you can use your inhale to slide them away, protraction, and the exhale to draw them back. You'll know that you're ready for that when the rib cage placement is something that just happens because of your practice. All right, we're going to change this position now. The next time you feel your shoulder blades, make sure they're not too dipped down, not too pulled away. Inhale and open. All the work you've done today would work through the pecs and work through the upper back. You're staying here, breathing in and out. On the next breath out, use your pelvic floor and pelvic tilt. Inhale, stay into imprint, breathe out and find yourself back to neutral. Keep this going with the pelvic floor, pelvic, exhale, imprint, the lumbar, breathe, exhale and back to neutral. I'll explain what's happening to your arms. By holding your arms the height of the roller and keeping your rib cage placement down, you start to feel a huge stretch going all the way through the forearm, through to the fingers, and if you keep the breath going and you keep the fingers reaching as if they were elastic and could reach the either side of your room, you'll get a lovely neural stretch. All right, we're going to stay in neutral. Now breath out, slowly float your arms back, getting the shoulder to abduct, and inhale, opening your arms wide. And exhale the ribs. The arms need to feel as though they float, but there's no force because all of your energy is of the rib cage pelvic placement. Stay with your arms up now. Inhaling, allow your arms to drift backwards, but don't let your shoulders hunch and don't let the arms go any further than the rib cage placement can cope with. Exhale, ribs come down and glide your arms back. The best way to think of this movement here is that you're holding a big helium balloon that's the width of your chest. And as you float it down, the only exertion comes as the breath out connects the rib cage, the obliques, the armpits, and you feel the arm move within the shoulder, but all the effort doesn't come from the deltoid, or the bicep, or the tricep. The biggest effort comes from the connections that make up shoulder pathology, okay? So it's a lovely light feel. You're going to do one more. You might have to do lots of this to appreciate it, but it's wrong for me not to include it. Okay, people? And then from there then, you're going to allow your arms to come by your sides. We're going to finish off with the exhale to nod the chin and slowly re-enliven the rib cage, pelvic core connect. Breathe in just here and then breathing out, returning back down. You're going to do 3 more of these. The breath out, the increase of ease and mobility should be testimony to everything we've done in these previous videos. So you inhale, exhaling, There's a floating up, so it becomes a breathing exercise rather than a deep abdominal connection. Yes, you can feel your abs, but the breath muscles are being exercised to your maximum. This is your last one. Relax the shoulders, pelvic connection, and melt away. All right, people, that's all we have time for. I'm going to suggest, because you won't have to turn off your screen, but I need to, that you just let the legs go to a star shape. You allow the back to do what it does naturally, and you allow your arms to rest down here. If you stay like a starfish, as long as there's no pinching in your back, and you deep breathe for 10 deep inhale, exhales, then you can come off your roller and feel very good about yourself. So, yes, once again, that's all we have time for. And hopefully the body, once you're upright, having done that starfish stretch, will feel light and ready for another day and not feeling bogged down by COVID and restrictions. So you've opened and you're energized. It's a goodbye from me. I will see you tomorrow. Here we go again.